Hello, hello. This is Christine. I'm your host today. And like as always, this new episode of KSM Podcast going to be song with Christina. My dear audience and people who listen that this podcast, this episode, I have special guest speaker from far away from America, Lady Miri Lenoff. Miri, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and Mira, I had you once, but my practice is almost to have a two or three times the same guest speakers, but we are changing, so change many things in our life and business. So, Miri, for all of you could not for all the audience who don't know you, tell us a little bit about you and uh, who you are, what you do, and your background.
Yeah, so my name is Miri Lenoff. I was born actually in Mexico, moved to the US when I was 12 years old. I didn't speak English at all, but obviously that was hard the first few years. And now I speak more English than I do Spanish. So it's crazy how it works out. Um, when I was growing up, I really didn't know who I wanted to be when I was, growing up. I would always just say a soccer player just so that people would leave me alone. And that's why I love my job so much because I get to be part of so many businesses, helping them with their marketing. Um, it's been a long time since I started my marketing journey. I started to do websites just because I liked doing them and it was just fun. It was a hobby. Um, and I was talking with a friend and she said, "Hey, listen, can you help me fix the phone number on my website?" And I said, "That's so bad. Like what's wrong?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know why. I don't know how to fix that." And I was like, "So you're telling me that you have a phone number on your website and on Google that doesn't work. So you're losing a lot of business." And she said, "Yeah, I just don't know what to do." So I went in there, we redesigned her whole website from scratch because it just needed a facelift. And I said, I'm from here. So since then, I've been doing website design. I've been doing email marketing. For a short while, I was just a copywriter because that's where you really get a lot of people to convert. And if you're a good copywriter, then you can do a lot more things in the marketing space. And ever since then, I said I want to have an agency. So now I do more than just websites and email copy. I do cold email, reputation management, SEO. So a lot of other services that is not just email marketing. And it's all about finding what fits. And that's, I think, something that we're going to talk about today. What fits? If I have this business, what fits? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to do everything? Social media, it's really overwhelming. Or do I just pick one thing? And that's really what, why we had this idea to talk
Yeah,
about.
and I understand you totally. And we were talking maybe last year or 2 years
Yeah,
ago. I cannot
yeah,
remember now. But there are many guest speakers, so to be honest, and I
yeah,
know that how we met each other. I was listening your live with from one lady from Australia, if I can remember now, and
yeah.
then we started like this to collaborate in some way. And I know that you started with websites, and tell us what was the software, or you do some like programming, like to
Yeah.
what was the software where you create and build those websites for your clients?
So I started on Wix and then I ran into a lot of problems. Not to say that Wix is bad. It's great for people that are starting out, but I needed something that would automate and replicate things all across the site. And so then I found Thrive Themes, WordPress. It's a WordPress theme, and I have an agency license that I use on all of my websites. But I also like to use Squarespace. So I've used those three mostly. There's also Weebly that we sometimes have clients that use those. But when people come to me and they want a website, especially now that, AI is so, it's incredible. I mean, Lovable, I actually make mock-ups on Lovable and then I transfer them over to the website because I think that at some point things change and I don't want to have a website sitting on Lovable. I'd rather have it with a reliable um, let's say software, a reliable presence. And WordPress has been around forever. I don't think it's going anywhere. So until AI convinces me that, things like Claude Code and Lovable and all of these other things that AI can do, I love to practice with it, but I'm not gonna give you an end result on a lovable site just because I'm not convinced that lovable is going to it's going to be here forever, no doubt. But the features are changing all the time, and it's a lot easier to get a website up and running. I mean, it's a great site. That's why I do my mock-ups sometimes on there. But I
And
like the reliability, of WordPress. So I don't recommend, you jump on Lovable right away and say, okay, here's a website that you can use forever. It will be there forever. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about Lovable. I think it's a great tool, but I'd rather stick with things that have been working for a long time and will continue to work until we make that jump. Um,
And when you mention AI, can you maybe do you know some kind of recommendation
mhm.
for some software like which is specific? We have
Yeah.
like a ChatGPT, which is free of charge, but also there are many upgrading to upgrade for different uh, AI platforms and tools. So, do
Yeah.
you have some to recommend some kind of AI for building websites, for example? Maybe there will be some kind of audience who maybe wanted to start from scratch and they need some kind, they
Yeah.
are not in position to pay, let's say, for creating website, maybe that can help them to start with something. And also, Miri is here just to you can connect with Miri, but well, maybe
Yeah,
there
of
are
course.
people who will use this episode today to talk about different areas of your business.
Yeah, of course. So Lovable is I don't know if you've used it, but it's great that you tell it what you want and then it creates a website for you in seconds. So that's one of them. And like I said, I like to create mock-ups on there and play with it to see how things look. And then you can actually have the images be downloaded so that you have the images and you can use them anywhere. I love using it because yes, it is AI and it's like I think it's called vibe coding where you just tell it what you want and it just creates it for you. But there's also now something called Claude Code that could do almost the same thing as Lovable. And a lot of people are playing with it. But if you're just starting out, just I would feed it as much information as you can and then you're gonna get a good output. For example, if you can't type things because you're not good at typing, just record yourself and transcribe that video and then put it on like ChatGPT or Claude. I mean, I love Claude for copywriting more than anything right now. But if you don't want to pay because Claude a lot of times limits you on the outputs, and then you have to create a new project. It's actually getting better on that though.
AI is Claude is also
Claude.
AI tool.
Yes. Yeah. So all of these are AI tools. So Lovable is the one that you just type and it creates a website for you. Cloud Code, you need to learn more about vibe coding so that you can create the same thing that Lovable does. It's a little bit more advanced, let's say. Um, then you have Claude, which is like a ChatGPT where you can have copywriting. But you have to create a project, and then from a project, on Claude, which is very simple. You just upload the information, and then
Like put your prompt there, and
yeah, and
which you
then and then come
explain
up with
more and
your
more, that will be
yeah.
much more clear for AI to help you to build it up, that
Exactly. Or even
website or page,
ChatGPT.
however.
Right. Or even ChatGPT for like copywriting. I like Gemini a lot for the images that, it creates. So, all of those tools I use on like a daily basis. The reason why I like Thrive themes is that it's not AI, but it's an easy drag and drop. So I never want to have the problem like my client told me, my first client said, I can't change the phone number on my website. You can when you have Thrive themes. So and it's easy. Like if you know how to open up a computer and open up Word or Google spreadsheet or a Google Doc or PowerPoint or any of those basic programs, you'll be able to use Thrive Themes. I mean, I have an agency license just because I love it so much and I have about, I don't know, 25, 30 websites on there. So it is definitely the easiest way to build something. But if you want to use AI, like I said, those tools really do help you to come up with what you want, let's say on Lovable, and then maybe transfer it over. Or Lovable, you can just keep it and it creates a website, it creates apps within like seconds. It's really incredible.
And Miri, thank you for sharing that, and for all your listeners who will listen to this episode. So this show today, just Miri shares such amazing things about AI tools, which you can use for starting your website or whatever you wanted to create for your presentation on the internet from scratch. And Miri, I know that you once mentioned, like as you mentioned about phone number and website, which doesn't work. And this is a way how we can just see that we are so professionals or not.
Mhm.
Also, you mentioned once about professional email, and I always remember that we if we use Gmail or something. In this first part of interview, I just wanted to move through to talk about it, and then we will continuously talking other things to do
Yeah.
about the
Yeah, I
marketing.
remember that.
Yeah, and share with us about just for our listen. Just it's not it's good to remind our audience
Yeah.
to take notes about it or to know about more about professional email and what is the meaning by that.
Yeah, so if you have a professional email, like anything, Kristina at yourdomain.com or .net or whatever, it's just the perception is just different. People look at you more professionally than if you just have a Gmail or a Yahoo or whatever. So definitely you want to pay the $6 a month. There are other plans I think that are even cheaper if you get it from like a SiteGround, which is where I host my websites, or where you get it from a DreamHost, wherever. It's all these hosting devices, like a lot of them is free. Like you don't sometimes you don't even have to pay for them. And if you're emailing someone, just look at it from the perspective of like when you receive an email from someone at gmail.com, it's more like a personal email and it's you don't really take it as serious than if you were to get one from a professional email. So I definitely suggest you do. Another reason why is because if you do, like I do cold emails right now, setups, and I buy if your domain is xyz.com, let's say, I buy domains that are similar to xyz.com so that, xyzgroup.com or something, so that it still comes from a professional email. It's not at gmail.com. There's also when with Gmail and Yahoo and all these, there's also limits on like things that you can, I mean, you can always upgrade, but I feel like there's always limits on the things that you can send and stuff like that. You don't have the access to like a team drive and which is something that I use a lot. So that's why I like, Google is great. I love Google email because it gives you so much stuff to like a drive, your Google Docs, all that. It's in one place. Um, you can also do it with a Gmail, but you don't have the ability to add people into your team, let's say. So it's just easier, paying $6 a month is nothing compared to, what you get. So definitely suggest that, if you're just starting out, buy the domain, get a Google inbox and start from there because then once you start getting going and you start getting emails, it's frustrating to have to move over to another to have another email when you have all of your conversations in one place. I mean, it's a headache. So
I
start from
think
there.
that Gmail also has the opportunity to upgrade as a professional.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that, I suppose so. And also, when you buy like a domain, I was sometimes researching, for example, get some email, and I see that only you have domain for that you can create your professional mail.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
for example, I have my KristinaSM.com, but
Yeah.
also, for example, people don't have website, but have only professional domain connected for their email and only have I suppose so just only space for email which are connected for that domain xyz at christinaxyz.com for example. It's
Yes.
example,
Right.
and people
Right.
maybe don't have website but have only they bought domain.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's harder for people to get an inbox, with your professional email. I don't know why. To me, it's a lot of times easier, but yes, you can also do that. It's just that even if you don't have a website, at least put coming soon because a lot of people know that if you have like Christina at xyz.com or whatever, they're gonna go to the domain xyz.com to really find out more information about you. So even if you can't do a whole website, also Google has a way to create websites now. Like there's so many things out there that you can create websites. If you want to have it professionally done, great, but you don't really have to. there's a lot there that, that you can use, and it's free. So a lot of it is free. Also, that like GoDaddy comes with I think you get it for like a month or two for free. GoDaddy website builder, I think they have something like that. Maybe I don't know if it's free still,
And
but
when you
I know
mentioned
that they had
Google,
that.
how it's possible where people can go to create website on Google?
Yeah, I mean, just Google. I mean, Google websites, and they have a way
Mhm.
for you to add your website builder. Yeah, and then you just create it from there. It's a free website builder that has it for people who are maybe just starting out or whatever. There's honestly so many. Wix could also be free if you
Yeah,
wanted
of
to. You
course.
don't have
But
to have
it's
your
not
own
like a
domain.
google.com free
No,
websites. You can find many website builders like MailerLite, like WordPress, like if you think on that.
yeah, so it's sites.google.com. That's the
Mm.
marketplace. And then you just start going in from there.
Mm.
You don't have to know code, and you just create anything.
That's great. So you can start with one page, for example. For example, on MailerLite, you can create subscribe page and go there and everything
Yes.
is functional. Like if you
Yeah.
wanted to uh, connect some subscribers or whatever you have to promote. If you start,
Yeah,
if you're starting from scratch, however, you can always create subscribe page and always find some kind of builders free of charge.
correct. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. Yeah, I think that what Miri, you're always I'm always inspired when I have you as a special guest speaker because
Thank
we and I'm also in similar industry and then have much more to connect with you to ask you question which will be so useful for our audience
Yeah,
to.
no, thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to share, honestly.
Yeah, I know how you're expert in that field and your challenges and everything. And Miri, you mentioned when you started everything and do that. So do you think that we cannot do everything? Like we need to delegate someone. And so please share about it with us.
Yeah.
And also because we can do, I running podcast and do
Mhm.
coaching and speaking, especially from my industry, digital marketing. But
Yeah.
as you mentioned on previous today on the podcast and on the show, that we can run one thing, but I think that we have to delegate someone and also share a little bit more about your agency.
Yeah,
What do
sure.
you do
So,
at the moment uh, uh, in your
I think
agency?
you mentioned a lot of things.
Yeah, I
How to
mentioned
do
a lot of
everything.
things. Yeah, but
And I think we can start with that. So people come to me and they say, okay, like what do I do? I have a website, maybe I wrote a book, maybe I'm a local business and I need help with, I'm a roofer and I need help with email marketing. And these are all like really like these are my type of clients. I work with a lot of different service-based companies, a lot of authors as well. And and like life insurance agents and like, brick and mortar businesses and coaches and stuff. So it really it depends a lot on the type of business that you have. I'm always going to try to find where's your low hanging fruit, like if you have a list and you have an email them, excuse me, then we should start there because that's where the money is. That's your list is your biggest asset. We can always create better websites, and that doesn't depend on anything but your clients and your leads. That's where you bring in the money. So that's the first thing I'm going to look at. If you have a list, if you're in contact with your list, because that's super important. You need to be in touch with your list so that it maybe once a month, maybe once a week. I want to find that out first before I could tell you, do this, do that. If you're bringing in clients, if you're bringing in referrals, like through referrals, through social media, through lead magnets, through ads, like what are you doing? How are you bringing in new people into your business? That's also an important thing that you have to determine. And then another one is also visibility. Like how visible are you? And a lot of it can also come from either social media, doing podcasts like this, for example, being on, showing your website in the best way possible. If you're afraid to give out to show your website, then we need to work on it because a lot of people don't want to say that they have a website because they feel like it's not good enough. So, with all that being said, that's where we come up with a solution. So, for example, I have a client who has, I don't know, 13,000 followers on Instagram. It's a local business. Um, but they're not posting enough. They're maybe posting once a month. Right there and there, that's something that we need to work on. If you already have the people, then they already have, it's just like an email list, right? We need to bring them in so that they know what programs you have to offer or what are you selling. So nowadays we do 3 days a week, we do stories so that people know what is happening. And that for them is enough because they already have the audience and people are coming regularly to their store, right? I have another client who, and hopefully with these examples, you kind of get an idea that you don't have to be everywhere. For them, we send emails as well, but we don't have to do right now ads, at least not yet, because they're full. Like there's no more growth that they can have. It's like for them, they just need that visibility. I have another client who is an author. And for her, she has an email list that she wasn't emailing regularly. So again, right there and there, we started to use some emails. But she also wants to be more visible. And so we go back and we do research on her industry and her market to see what kind of videos we can start to produce for her. And for her, that's enough. She's doing social media and she's doing email marketing and we're fixing up her website. She's not doing cold email. She's not doing something crazy. But then I have another client who is more in a B2B market and cold email works really well for them. For them, they don't have to do the whole nonsense social media stuff. Like for them, it doesn't make any sense because it's more about trust. So you have to look at it as if I have this business, what type of business it is, how many people do I need into my programs or into my services, and how do I get more visible for them? So B2B works really well with cold email. I wouldn't advise cold email for the store that I mentioned earlier that has like 13,000 followers on or 14,000 followers on Instagram. I wouldn't do that. It doesn't make any sense for them. So it just depends a lot on like what business you have, what's your email list, what's your audience size on the social media side of things, and how can we improve that so that you can get more visibility that way. Um, so I would pick one channel and start from there, and then maybe move into another one.
What would
But
be email list? Excuse me, just to we mentioned email
yeah,
list for audience. What email platform you can suggest for automation for the people?
so I like
It
having
was like
everything
a
in.
before MailerLite, for example, or
Yeah,
uh, other, but they are different, like a Sendinblue
right.
or
Mhm.
maybe I don't know which one you use or.
It depends on the what the client already has. A lot of times we go with what the client already has because there's a lot of automations already in there, like a welcome sequence, it's already there, so we don't have to change it. It's already built into it, so we don't have to make any changes. But basically, um, I like to use one that's it's called Go High Level. Obviously I have an agency license that I have so accounts with my clients who don't have one or want to change.
How did
Um,
you say high level?
yeah, Go High Level GHL.
Oh.
That it has you can also schedule posts from there directly, has funnels, websites that you can
And do
build
they
from
have
there.
some kind of free version, trial version,
No,
or no?
no,
Everything is
no.
paid
Everything is free. I think people sell it for like $47 or $97. Mine, if you're
monthly or
working
yearly?
monthly,
Monthly.
but it's with everything, and you don't get charged per email or per contact, which like Mailchimp and like MailerLite and like Brevo, all of these, it's either by the email or by the contact. So with this, you pay maybe like a penny for every 100 emails you send, something like that. It's very cheap.
And
Um,
can people use AI for that, like
It has
for
AI
email?
built into it. It does have a lot of AI agents that you can turn on and off. Not necessarily for writing emails, but for automations and for other things like bots and stuff like that. So I mean, I love it because it keeps everything in one place. I was using Active Campaign, but it was getting too pricey. It was like, I don't know, $400 a year or something at that point. So for me, it wasn't worth it anymore. So I moved over to Go High Level. I moved all of my automations over there, and that's really where I'm at right now. But I have clients who use Brevo, who use MailerLite, who use Mailchimp, and it's all a matter of what you feel comfortable with. Um, and like for example, actually had a call last week with somebody who was trying to figure out like where do I go? What type of email service provider do I use? And unfortunately, again, it depends, but there's a lot of things that you can kind of think about that you're gonna need. For example, automations. If you don't want to pay for automations, don't go with MailChimp. MailChimp is the worst when it comes to automations on a free plan because it's very hard to build them. Go with like a MailerLite that is free and you have automations there. If you think you're going to grow really fast, I really like Brevo right now, but another limitation of Brevo is that if you don't want to send an email on a specific day of the week, let's say Sunday because you go to church and you don't want people to all be opening up emails on a Sunday, you can't fix that. Like it goes based on like when somebody opts into your group or your list or your whatever, however you have it set it up. And if they're supposed to be getting an email the next day, which happens to be on a Sunday, that's it. That's a Sunday. You can't fix it. You can't skip it. So at least that's, one of the challenges that I found with Brevo. With Go High
And
Level, you don't have that problem.
Brevo is also free of charge.
No, Brevo you have to pay. I think it used to be Sending Blue and it became Brevo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But Sending Blue was also it had opportunity to start with free of charge, and then you can upgrade.
I think actually, yeah, you can start free, but it's very limited
Yeah,
to what you can do
yeah.
on the
Of
free
course, of
plan.
course. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Just yeah. They changed the name. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I
they.
it's Bravo now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I asked you
So,
about delegating someone to
yeah.
do something.
Right. So with all this being said, like we talked a little bit about where should I be, what should I do? Again, it depends on your business. What type of email service provider do I need? Again, it depends on what capabilities you want in your business to be able to send emails. Do you also want to link in SMS with email marketing, which that's also really powerful, right? So there are some platforms like Go High Level, it does both at the same time. So all of these things have to play a role in what features do you need, and then you can go ahead and say, okay, I don't care so much about the MailChimp automation stuff because I'm not sending any emails like that. I care more about, having a deliverability component because you want to make sure that the emails are getting delivered. Active Campaign is one of the best when it comes to deliverability, right? But it's one of the most expensive ones. So it really depends on your budget, the features that you want, and how you can make everything work together. And then you talk about delegating. Well, with AI, there's a lot of stuff that you can automate with agents. But if you're not there yet, definitely hiring people is the way to go. What I have found is that I like to hire people that are really good at what they do for one specific task. Like, for example, I have my project manager. She's great at delegating and she's great at organizing the client projects to see where we're at. And then I have my Go High Level specialist. He knows everything that you need to know about Go High Level. So much so that sometimes we need to do workarounds because there's some glitches sometimes in the systems. So he said, okay, I'm just going to do a workaround and, he knows what to do. Your graphic designer, somebody who's really good at graphic design. So you have to really kind of look and see, what types of jobs, I guess, you need and find a good person for that. A lot of times I go through a VA agency and they have people that are good at these specific tasks. So you don't even have to worry so much about who am I gonna have? How do I know who's good for this and who's not good for this? And I like to give them test projects before I even hire them. Like, okay,
That's the best way to resonate with the potential
yeah,
employee and partner
yeah,
who is going to work with
exactly.
you.
Yeah. And it's just something simple, like create a graphic for a client who has these characteristics, like what would you come up with? Or if I have a test sub account on Go High Level, set me up an automation with this email that when somebody opts in to the list, this email goes out. That's something that anybody who knows GHL, it's very easy to set up. It's something so basic that you want to see how they approach it so that they can show you how they work and how fast they get it done. So that's kind of like what I would say.
And again, I wanted to ask you, can you share with us just like a checklist what you do, like email marketing in your agency,
Yeah.
design,
Yeah. So when my
CRM?
Yeah, right. So when somebody comes to us, a lot of times they do have a running business, but they might not have a functioning CRM, believe it or not. Like I'm working with one of my clients in getting their emails from his current clients because he only has the phone numbers, for example. So it really like it depends on what they need. A lot of it, I want to say that there's like a package that, you fit in package one, two, or three, and they're kind of all related. Like obviously social media content is one of the offers I with short form video. I also do email marketing for if people, you already have people on your list and you haven't sent them an email in a long time or you want to be more consistent. We talk about email marketing, also obviously website design that we talked about, and optimization, SEO, paid advertising I also offer, and also cold email. So those are like the services, but again, like I don't have all of my clients on paid ads right now. Maybe two. I don't have all my clients on a social media plan, maybe just three or four. So it really like that, like I said, it just depends on what you need and how I see that you're gonna get your biggest ROI. It's not all doing everything. That's not what we're about. Not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, and thank you for sharing that. So I will put all information about your agency and
Mhm.
social media pages where audience can connect with you if they have some problem or pain points, which you can resolve it. So please go ahead to Miri and she can help you a lot because she runs her agency and she's so experienced in everything what we spoke about in digital marketing and creating websites and designing and CRM and all those kind of things. So, Miri, it's
Yeah.
time, like as always, that I ask my special guest speakers, like a little bit, like a master's, let's say, a shorter master class. And today, the topic is, and what we spoke about before we starting this episode today, what type of marketing makes sense for your business? That will be your maybe to talk about it. And I have a few questions for you if we can start from here if you can just.
Yeah. So I would start looking at it. What are your assets and what are you already doing good and where are you getting business from already? If you're just starting out, what are your competitors doing so that you can do the same thing and see how you adjust. So what type of marketing makes sense for me? It depends on what you feel comfortable doing. Not meaning like feeling comfortable. If you're not feeling comfortable on being on like social media, then don't do that first because that's not going to be good for you. Like where can you come in and already make like money right away? Maybe it's calling friends and family and just telling them what type of business you have, something as basic as that, or going farther and doing a paid advertising campaign if you have the budget for it. So it really, you like I said before, I think we kind of touched on this earlier. You have to look at, you already have a list to start with email marketing because you really need to start selling through there and making sure that you keep people engaged on your list. That's going to be the key. So if you don't, then you need to start getting leads. That's as simple as it gets. And then once like if you're a B2B company, cold email works really well. Um, or you can also do referral marketing. So like if you're like in a local business, networking really works really well, especially like the BNIs of the world and that kind of stuff. Um, that's something where you can start. And then from then on, like you have to look at yourself as what do I sell and where are my people? So go where your people are. That's really the key. If they're on Facebook groups, go to these Facebook groups. If they're uh, in BNI meetings, go there. Like you have to really know where people are and so that you can really start to sell a lot more.
Yeah, and when you mentioned BNI, I have such amazing collaboration with the BNI globally. And
Right.
Dr. Owen Meisner, he was a guest speaker three times here.
Yeah.
And his last book, Networking is Not a Marathon, it's a sprint, with his
Mhm.
co-authors, Phil Berg and Baradaga from India and Phil Berg from UK. So I hosted all of three of them, and so that will be great to just to have to for all of you who wanted to come just follow my podcast, and you can listen all those episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm planning to do the one episode with three of them, and talk about that book. So that's something which I really love to do. So for, as I
That's
said, for
amazing.
all of you if you wanted to know more about BNI and go there, just you will have and listen many guest speakers who are members from who are in BNI from all around the world. So that's pretty good,
Yeah.
and I really love that.
Yeah, I know you're very connected with BNI. So I would, if I had more time, I would definitely join a local chapter. But unfortunately, it just takes a long time, and so I won't be able to. But I really do think that it's a great organization to network. And if you're just starting out, I would definitely make it a point to be there for
And
sure.
I follow. It was last year in Sydney when was a BNI conference global. So this year will be in Morocco. No, in Monaco, sorry. So that's in October, and I really followed that and have more information. So and always before convention
Yeah.
is starting, I always try to host Dr. Meisner to talk about it. So
Mm.
and I really am fan of BNI. So
That's
many
yeah.
people, as I
I
said,
know you are. I know you are. But it's actually works. So I definitely
yeah, that's
I
that's
love
good.
it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. So, dear Miri, I have a few questions for you, but the first would be why doesn't every marketing strategy work for every business? Why does not every marketing strategy work for every business?
Yeah, because you're selling different things to different people. That's as basic as it gets, and as simple as it gets. If you are a gym, okay, and you want to bring in people that have never exercised in their life, you know, your message is going to be different than somebody who wants to bring in, CrossFit people and, high rocks and like people who've already had some type of like physical exercise. So a lot of it, that's a big thing, People, you need to talk to people and get them to where they're at. So I just gave you an example with the gym with, you know, an example that you don't want to overwhelm someone, you want to be inviting for them, right? And every gym should market differently. It depends on where you're at and who you want to bring in through your doors. So so if you look at it from that perspective, imagine if we all did marketing the same way. It just doesn't work like that. The best advice that I could give someone is that you talk to one person. And I think I gave this example last time, I'm not sure, but I was with the girls, with some of my friends having lunch, and we were talking about how, we all have kids. It's hard to lose the weight after having kids. Your whole body changes, like it's all this different stuff going on. And I realized, like, if a marketer were sitting here, somebody who works with people who want to lose weight, like they would get so many golden nuggets like listening to us because we weren't just talking about losing weight. We were talking about the struggles and like, somebody mentioned saying, I'm doing the intermittent fasting. Somebody else said, oh, that doesn't work for me. Another person's doing the shots, like she's never hungry. Like all of these different things, four of us talking about the same topic. And, it goes back to it doesn't work for everybody because you need to talk to that one person. And that one person, it could be me, it could be one of my friends talking about the diet that she's going through and the shots and all this. And if you talk to one person, you're going to be more specific in your messaging. So that's another reason why you want to talk to just the person that is going to buy your product. And at the end of the day, it's going to be more than one. But when you talk to one person, your messaging becomes even stronger. And another reason why is that even with AI, you can't do everything. um until you get to the point where you can maybe have 100 people working with you for you or doing AI agents. start in place in the first place. Like you can't climb a mountain without taking the first step, right? So that's why I wouldn't do everything at once. You have to see what's working, and then once that works, then continue to expand and advance on that. But right now, I think for most of us, I mean, if you're not like Alex Hormozy, then you should definitely not be doing everything at once. Because if you do everything at once, you lose your focus. Just like we shouldn't be multitasking, just worry about the first thing and the most important thing that you can do to bring in more money, and you're going to be way more successful than if you wanted to do everything. So, hope
Yes,
that.
that's so true. I agree with you. And my next question for you is how can all owners identify the marketing channels that best fit for their model? Maybe we
Okay.
mentioned before, but just
Yeah.
it's good to repeat. Nothing
Yeah, for
nothing
sure.
is going overwhelmed. So that will be
Yeah, I
useful
mean,
for listeners.
if you're a company that does B2B, then you definitely want to do LinkedIn, obviously. Um, if you're somebody who has
Mm.
services that you can have, like for example, like videos and stuff like that, Instagram and TikTok and Facebook are great with that. If you want to show more like a graphic design kind of thing, then Pinterest. That's definitely a place where you have to be. Also, Instagram because it's very visual. If you want to use Facebook uses also, you have to look at the demographics, right? Younger people are on like Snapchat and TikTok than Facebook. So you also have to take that into account. Where are my people hanging out, and going from there. LinkedIn is more like a B2B.
And when you mention B2B, I just want to maybe to be much more clear. Maybe there
Yeah,
are people who don't understand what is a B2B, what is a B2C, because when it's biz to biz, business to business, and that does, and just that does that mean that people can buy business from business or collaborate? Because if business to customer, B2C that we wanted to sell something, not
correct.
just to have collaboration. Maybe just if
Yes.
you can explain that B2B
Yeah,
a little
I
bit
mean,
just to
B2B,
this.
like you said, is business to business. So like, for example, I work on business to business. Like I don't work specifically with clients. So people that hire my team and my services are people that already have a business, right? Um, so another company that's like B2B is like people who work with like contracts, like lawyers who work with contracts. They're not gonna go to like a normal person down the street. They want to have companies work with them. So that's the difference. You want to work with people that you feel comfortable, that obviously makes like sense for you. So like if I have a lawyer that is working with us, um, and they do contracts, I'm not gonna suggest that they're on Instagram or TikTok. They definitely have to be on LinkedIn. So that's really where you have to think about where is your person. If you want to cater to college students or high school seniors, who are 18 years old, who are going into college, obviously use Snapchat. That's what they use. Instagram a little bit. So you have to see where are they, how are they communicating, and go wherever that demographic is located. And you don't have to be everywhere, like I said. Just be in one place and dedicate time. Dedicate time. It's not just posting and forgetting. It's really spending 30 minutes to an hour every day, connecting with people, messaging them, commenting on their posts, getting to know them, understanding their fears, their behaviors, their wants, their needs, so that you can really understand what they're saying. And that's really going to help you a lot. So pick one. You don't have to be everywhere. You can post everywhere, but pick one where you really want to be present on a daily basis. And that's really going to help you to create the relationships that you need so that people would buy from you.
And when you mentioned that about pick one channel,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
maybe you can post on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, and what just what I wanted to say that, for example, when from my perspective, doing that, building online presence, my job is like to help them to create strategy for that, but not just to, I cannot, if you, as you mentioned, if you don't connect in some way to message that person, someone cannot come to you and say, okay, I saw your post, I wanted to work with you. We need to manage it. We need to manage. that post. We need to manage message to our potential lead
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
prospects. And this is something what, as I can say, I can say, okay, I can help you to build you to be much more visible, much more present through the website, to the magazine, to the blog post, just like kind of to be on video marketing, like podcasting, audio and video. But the people need to manage that, to do follow up after that. And there are people who say, hey, I have 25,000 followers on Instagram, but no one come to me and say, okay, I want to. There are people who like something to follow. Maybe they do understand. Sometimes this is a way when people struggle, when they have a lot of followers, but they don't use them to return them, to turn them into the clients spontaneously,
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of it, you need to know how to talk to people. Like just be a person, but be a person to get to know them and say, "Oh, I mean, if somebody messaged, if I'm talking to someone on DM and they said, "Oh, yeah, I'm having trouble with, how my business is converting clients." I'm like, "Oh, that's actually what I do. Want to get on a call so we can discuss?" Like, you're not selling your services right away. You just want to help. So I would approach it from that perspective, just be human and try to help people. And if you're communicating with the people that need your services, they will connect with you. Like they will say, "Oh, yeah, well, that would be great." And then you can say, "Hey, listen, this is what I do. This is my package. Would you like to buy it?" That's it. Like I feel like a lot of times we overcomplicate things
Yeah,
and you have to just ask for things.
just to
I'm not
simplify
saying, yeah,
things.
like I'm not saying to message and like send DMs to like a 3,000 people a day. Obviously, you can't do that, but like I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that a lot of times when, even if you're making 20K a month or 100K a month, it doesn't hurt you to go in there and really see what people are feeling and thinking so that you can be so you can sell better. There's a lot of people I know that sell high ticket offers off of Instagram. You just have to talk to the right people and be somewhat human. Like, don't automate this stuff that you don't need to automate, and talk to people and say hi and say, I'm happy to help, and just come up with your offer. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that.
And for
Everybody,
example, if you go, sorry, just you meant
yeah,
to go to Instagram and you see post or some person or some companies which will be fit for you, that you can recognize that that company will be your potential client. Like, could you go to the website and see what they do? How are you going to first time that you wanted, that I wanted to start and ask and send them message and say that I can help them and support them, or they are fit my as my ideal client. I
yeah.
recognize that.
Right. Like I said, you just have to talk to them and like ask questions that you want to know. Like for example, if I'm talking to someone, I can ask them, how's business going? Like, how can I help you? Or like, what are some of the things that you're struggling with? Or like, I know that people think that everybody asks these questions, but if you do it genuinely, like if you met somebody in the street and you want to just see how they're doing, take it like the same approach. I don't like to have like prompts or like scripts because everybody's different. Like you should just be a person and see how they're doing and have communication with them. And then at the end, like, like if they say, "Yeah, well, I'm having it," like, you know, I would be starting the conversation with someone who I
Yeah,
even
but we
thought,
can start very simple conversation, not just
yeah.
for the first sentence or for hello or how
The
are
first
you
sentence, you
or
can just comment in something good that they did. "Hey, I
yeah.
really like the post that you did about
Yeah, yeah,
XYZ.
yeah, of course.
Why did
This
you,
is a way
how did you
that you
come up with
can
it?" Or,
to break through, to connect
yes.
in the right
And
way.
comment on their, a lot of people are dying for engagement. They're
Mm,
dying to see comments on their
yeah,
post. So if you comment on theirs, they will comment on yours, most
mm,
likely. If you do it on a consistent basis.
yeah, of course.
So just be like, we overcomplicate things, to be
And
honest.
we can comment in a way to connect with that post in terms of business part, or not just say this is good, but maybe we can put something which what we think that
Yeah,
is good, what we see that is
exactly.
it
Or
useful,
ask them a
is it
question.
beneficial, is
Yeah, like, "Oh, this was interesting, but what do you think of this?" Or I realize you talked about this, but you left this part out, probably intentionally. I wonder why. There's so many ways to like start the conversation.
Yeah.
Like people are on social media because it's social. Like don't take the weirdness into it. Like don't bring in the weirdness of like,
Yes, of
oh, I don't know
course.
what to say.
Yes,
Just
yes.
be a like if you met that person in the street and you wanted to say something, what would you say? That's what I would tell you.
Yeah,
Say that.
very, very simple. Hey, Miri, I have a few questions before we ramp up our call today. And what should leaders consider before adding new marketing facts? What leaders should consider before they add new marketing facts on their what they need to
They should look at
consider?
their KPIs, their key performance
Mm,
indicators, and that
mm,
would tell them what they should consider. If,
mm,
you know, you're doing like if your email open rate is good, then continue to do the same thing that you're doing.
mm,
If your click-through rate is bad, then change the call to action. You know, maybe add hyperlinks, add buttons, not just say, you know, put the website there. Like you have to try different things and test,
mm,
but you have to really look at your numbers to see
mm.
what you know. And I sorry, I do have a meeting coming up in about a minute. But
Okay,
if you
so we
want to
will.
ask maybe one more
Yeah,
question.
I asked you many questions. The last one will be, what is the first step to simplifying marketing strategy?
To
We
simplify
mentioned
it,
marketing
yeah, to
strategy.
simplify it to just look at one thing, stick with that, and from then on, you know, see what type of result you get from that one thing, and then from then continue to grow. Like the best advice I could give you is to keep moving forward.
And keep going and never give up. So, Miri, can you share with us in 10 seconds your website and how people can reach out to you so
Yeah.
I will share all information about you, so about your business, about your agency, and that will be for our call today. So, and I will
Yeah,
have you
no, that's
again on my
great.
podcast also.
Thank you so much for having me. So my company is Joel's Marketing, Joles, just the names of my kids all together. That's why I came up with that name. Um, and I'm everywhere as Miri Lenoff. Only on Facebook, I'm Miri Mercado Lenoff, just because I've had that for a long time. Um, it's Miri, and my last name is Lenoff as in Frank. I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok. And yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure to be here. So thank you so
And
much.
thank you so much. Thank you, Miri. And don't forget to subscribe the KSM Podcast Going Business Online with Kristina on YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, please. Go ahead, follow my channel and wait for new notification about new episodes. Miri, thank you so very much. It was such a pleasure. You shared
Thank you.
amazing answer with us, amazing topic it was today, and amazing tools and stuff, and see you very soon in our new episode. So wish you such an amazing and successful job with you and your team to have everything what you want, wish to achieve with your agency, and wish you a lot of clients.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
for joining and see you very soon. And bye for now. Have a
All
lovely
right. Take
day.
care.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.